episode 2 of Anime and Us. I'm TJ.
And I'm Shawn.
And this is the review show that reviews anime from A to Z. Sort of.
Last episode, we spun our random wheel for the numbers and symbols category. It gave us 801 T.T.S. Airbats, which was released on May 21st, 1994. It was written by Shimizu Toshimitsu, and it was produced by Studio Fantasia and Victor Entertainment.
Now, 801 TTS Airbats isn't its actual Japanese name. Its original Japanese name is Azura Shoujotai? I can't speak Japanese. In other words, it's translated to Blue Sky Girls Squad. I don't know why they changed it, but they did.
Alright, so let's jump in on the actual review. Overall, how did you feel about the series?
The series sucked. It's probably the worst anime I ever seen, but that's not saying much. I haven't seen a whole lot of it, so I didn't go out of my way to watch bad anime before.
I have seen a lot of anime. It's still a giant piece of garbage. This is one of the worst animes out there. Whoever's listening, if anyone's listening, never watch this.
Yeah, it wasn't really good. I mean, I guess people could try and excuse it for its time period and its culture and stuff, but even that's not excuse. It's just a mockery of itself, honestly.
It's supposed to be a comedy. It's supposed to be lighthearted and funny, and it is definitely lighthearted, except for some of the episodes and some of the plot points. But overall, it doesn't do anything well. No matter what it does nothing well at all.
I mean, you can even say like the dialogue's bad, but even that is not even justifying how bad
terrible it is.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just not even the writing's bad. Even the acting is bad. The whole thing is just wrong and terrible in and of itself. So much so, I mean, you know what? Let's just dive right in here. Episode 1, or I don't know if these are the official names of the episodes, but these are the ones I found. Episode 1, from what I understand, is called DEFCON 1.
Which is really weird, because in typical anime, there's at least an episode number or episode name at the beginning of each episode. This one didn't have that at all.
Well, not even that. It's usually, if they do not show it, it's usually because they cut off like the intro or something. But the full intro is in every episode.
Yeah, that was really odd. You had to go scouring through the internet to find it.
Right. It was just strange. Anyway, so the first episode opens up with Tokayo Itsuguri, is that right?
Itsuguri, yes, I think that's his name.
Well, anyway, he is riding his bike to his new job in the Special Defense Force for Japan. He's a mechanic, apparently. And loves airplanes, so he's going there. And as he's going, an airplane flies low, and somehow he sees the pilot in there.
Which you have to suspend your disbelief for, I don't know, everything about aircrafts to somehow not only see the pilot, but to see that it's a female pilot.
Oh yeah, I forgot they mentioned it was a girl, didn't they? Anyway, so he's riding along his bike and he runs into the first of the pilots, which is Sakura. I'm not even going to pronounce that last name, but she is the second command of the whole thing, and she's like the lead pilot, but she's not really the main character pilot in this thing. And she offers him a ride to the rest of the place, where they come across, but as they're going, they come across her dog, which is...
He's got some bugged out eyes. Yeah, the weird looking dog.
His name's Patriot, and
Patriot.
Yeah, that's his name. hey, I wrote it down. But the mechanic accidentally insults the dog, so now he's got to walk the rest of the way, which leads to hilarity when he trips over a clothesline full of panties.
And somehow grabs one without noticing it.
Yeah, and then when he stumbles out of it, he's attacked by a bat for some reason.
The pink-haired character. And yes, I'm not going to remember any of their names. I'm not trying to remember any of their names. I don't want it on my hard drive space in my head, because that's how friggin' bad this is.
Well, I'm going to mention the bat's name right here, because I don't think it ever is mentioned, and it never comes up, and this is the only part the bat ever comes up again. It's the only thing it does.
You know what? I think she comes up, or it comes up one more time during the ramen episode. And starts shooting the green onions into the other lieutenant's ramen.
I got you.
But other than that, yeah, you're right. It's completely unnecessary.
Well, anyway, the bat is named Chi-Chan.
Chi-Chan.
And then we're introduced to the most annoying character in the entire show. She's the pink hair girl named Yoko Shimorenchiko or some crap like that. I can't do Japanese. But her voice actor is unreal. I don't even know how to explain it. You want to give it a shot?
Other than it clearly being on purpose, I don't know how they could make a voice actress so annoying. It's this weird nasally Barbie voice mixed in with just a touch of some sort of southern accent. It's really, really odd, and I just want to jam a Q-tip in my ear every time I listen to her.
Yeah, it's probably the worst voice acting I've ever heard in anything, and that's saying something.
It is pretty terrible.
Anyway, so the bat attacks the mechanic guy, and he ends up running through the place and runs into the other two pilots who just happen to be, one's getting changed, and the other one's naked in a shower, and they show her being naked.
Just so happened to happen then.
Yeah, and of course, that's comedy ensues, and then they pull out, and we hear that the girls beating them up. Next, we're in an office with the mechanic and the two girls he walked in on, and we're introduced to the captain of the group, but not like of the whole thing, and his name is Mitsururi Kenashiru or some crap like that. But he is going to be known as the captain from now on, and he's probably the best character in this.
Yeah, he probably is the best character in this entire show. The most rounded character. The only one that's even slightly believable.
And really the only one that's not offensive in any way.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I
think you are correct on that. He's not offensive in any single way.
Right.
Maybe that's a failure.
Yeah, I guess that would be a failure on their part. And it's funny because I actually was sympathetic to him towards the end of the series in that last episode. So
the last let's not get ahead of ourselves. But I have some strong feelings on that last episode.
All right. Anyway, we're introduced to the other characters. The first one is Yuki Hanada. She's actually, I guess, the lead pilot in all of this. Well, kind of. One of the two lead pilots. And she's the goody girl stereotype or whatever. So she's just good girl from now on. And the other one, is Mitsura Kanishia? I think? I don't know. No, wait, that's the captain's. My mistake. It's Arisu Mataki is her name.
Yeah, that's it, Mataki.
Arisu Mataki, and she's the bad girl, typical stuff.
Oh, yeah. She's got the bad streak in her.
Yeah, that one. And so they're complaining to the captain about his assault, and the captain's just like, yeah, I used to do that when I was younger.
I used to sexually assault women when I was younger.
And they're all there. And then the last of the main characters walks in, which is... the last of the ones that I didn't introduce yet is, I think it's either To or Ko Likengamiun. I can't do that. But he's just like the antagonist, I guess.
Yeah, he's the whole plot device. The whole series kind of centers around him and what he's doing, and then everyone else has to react to that.
Yeah, well, he's like a typical misogynist about the whole girl pilots.
We need to shut down this girl squadron.
Because, yeah, the 801st is apparently a all-girls acrobatic air squad or something that isn't allowed to be fighter pilots because they're girls.
And it's also a clear play on the Blue Angels in America. You know?
Which is funny because they actually show up.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, not the actual Blue Angels, but a squadron from America shows up later on.
I thought they were called the Thunder Blue Angels or something like that.
Thundercats, something like that. Something along those lines. It was clearly supposed to be mirrored off the Blue Angels.
Oh, and I forgot to mention, but when he was coming to the place, we get our first introduction to his dream sequences.
Oh, Jesus.
And the first one is where he thinks that because the place that they're set up doesn't look all fancy and stuff, he thinks it's a front, and inside it's actually a secret agent base, and there are super secret spies and stuff like that. It's really stupid. And this is also the point where we get a real taste of the insults in this. I forget who says it, but one of the characters says that they are mean people.
Oh, the mean people defense.
Yeah, I forget where it is, but I noted it down.
I remember that.
I noted it down, but I wasn't sure where it was. So,
the mean people defense force. Apparently, that's what he sees himself as. That's his self-image.
Right. So, then now we go into the hangar, because that was immediately after, I think, where all of a sudden the good girls tune changes and she's not mad at him for walking in on her, and now she's like flirting with him while the bad girl is hiding in the plane, listening to everything. And this is where the crappy love triangle stuff comes in.
Oh, it's so bad.
So, yeah, and this is also where the first really infuriating part of the thing comes in, because the good girl starts going on about how they're used as a prop, essentially. Attractive girls being used, looked at by the things, when in not, 5 minutes before, they were showing them all naked and stuff. So the whole thing is kind of just hypocritical and manipulative, and it is not good at all. Oh.
Yeah, there's definitely hugely hypocritical.
So the two girls start fighting over, essentially, the mechanic guy. And this is where we get another great dialogue insult, where the mean girl starts calling the two other characters, the mechanic and the good girl, babies.
Oh, God, for insult for pretty much the entire show.
Yeah, they're babies.
Baby.
So that's going to lead into the rest, the conflict between those two, and then to essentially fighting over the mechanic and stuff like that. So at the end of the episode, they get in their planes, because they get in their planes in every episode, essentially. In every episode, they destroy aircraft for some reason. That's probably millions of dollars. And they start showing each other up, and then, but the bad girl's plane gets damaged in the air because she's trying to show up the good girl. And oh no, she's going to crash. Both of them are pilots, and yet neither one of them can figure out how to do it. So the mechanic has to come and tell them what to do. Put the wing underneath the other wing so they could both land.
They can stabilize and land properly. Yeah, that didn't quite make any sense. They're pilots. They've trained. They've went to pilot school. But the mechanic, the guy that knows how to fix engines, can solve this problem. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
And I know I'm jumping back and forth because I'm just kind of looking through my notes at the same time here. But back in earlier, we had a treat of the second dream sequence that mechanic had, which was it the girl in the plane? He wasn't in the plane. He's never the hero.
I think he was like a commander at the base, talking to her over the radio.
Right, and I think it was the bad girl who was in the plane, and then she's fighting this giant monster, this thing, which his eye comes out, and it turns... It destroys, it kills all the pilots, so he's got some morbid things about these girls that he's supposed to like. He kills them in almost every dream sequence he does. And then he turns out he's actually playing with toys inside his room, and there's some blatant...
A grown man mechanic.
Yeah,
for the Special Defense Force. Which, by the way, the Special Defense Force is an actual thing. It's Japan's only military since World War II, little tidbit. They haven't been allowed to have a military.
Right. But it's all the toy thing was a blatant sell for certain other series, because there was like a Sailor Moon doll in there. And
yeah, there was a couple little pop references in there.
So yeah, I mean, essentially nothing happened in this episode. It was just an introduction to everything.
Well, let's be clear, nothing happens in any episode.
Well, stuff happens. It's just not good. This one was just an introduction, essentially, to the characters and what it is, and pretty much just to get you prepared for the love triangle thing that's going to only really take place over the next 2 episodes, which was strange.
Yeah, it didn't continue for the entire series, all 7.
But they kind of and they wrapped it up really badly too, which was another infuriating thing.
Yes.
But with that said, let's move on to episode 2, which is called, believe it or not, DEFCON 2. So, again, I don't know if that's the real name or anything. I mentioned it in the first episode, but of course, the big thing throughout the whole thing is now they got to pass a test to get through to you.
That's pretty much the plot device that keeps coming up. You have a new test, you have to pass it. If you fail it, the entire squadron, it shuts down.
Yeah. And of course, the second episode opens up with another stupid dream sequence. Where,
oh, God, it's dream sequences.
The bad girl is in an enemy jet and is attacking him for some apparent reason, and she ends up getting killed. He kills off his girlfriends.
He's pretty sadistic.
In almost every episode. But this episode is just love triangle bullcrap.
You know what? Love triangles could be good sometimes in shows that are very serious, but it's just thrown together in this one.
I like the romance stuff. I can even deal with love triangles, but this is just like the most cliched, most boring, most stupid thing. Because throughout this whole episode, the mechanic, the main character, it's his birthday. He keeps telling everybody it's his birthday, and that's the plot for... He doesn't want anything, but he wants something. And of course, the two main girls come up with the same idea to take him out for dinner. So, but the good girl does it first, gets to it first. So the bad girl's sad, and we get treated to that, that great scene where she goes outside and crying, and it starts raining.
Oh, Jesus. She starts calling them babies again.
Yeah.
Oh, so many things wrong.
So,
So she catches a fever in the rain, and then our main character ends up standing up. Hanada, the good girl.
Right.
She's there at the restaurant waiting and waiting and waiting, and he's at home taking care of the bad girl, putting a washcloth on her head because she's got a fever.
Because he can't call her and let her know what's happening or anything like that.
And then he sexually assaults the bad girl by taking the washcloth and rubbing it between her tits.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that.
Because they're sweaty.
That's, yeah. And then, of course, so... Later, she's telling him, just go on your date, baby, and stuff like this. And then, of course, she says she's got to go to the bathroom. And he takes her on her back, and then they fall over, and she's on top of them. She goes in and pretends to kiss him, and then says, nope, I was faking. I was sick. I just wanted you to say him. Of course, she was actually sick. We saw the whole process and the whole thing. And then the good girl comes home, gets mad at them, and mad at her because she was faking sick, and then the mechanic guy passes out. And of course he was really sick, and she was really sick, but they decide they can't work together at the end of this episode, just in time for the evaluation thing to come up. So, yeah, it's just, this one, it wasn't really infuriating as much as it was just boring and bad. I mean, the subplot was, the really annoying girl with the bat, the gambler girl, and the captain going to the horse races. So, and of course, the captain and the annoying girl lose all their money, and the gambler girl wins because that's her thing. She gambles and she wins because in the first episode she made a bet that they would pass the evaluation because that was the plot for the first episode.
Yeah, they had a small evaluation at the end.
Yeah,
and because of the way that they landed, that shows a great amount of skill, apparently.
Yeah, and she won the bet there, and that's her theme throughout the whole thing. And it's just not worth your time. On to episode 3, which is called... Can you guess?
No, I don't remember.
It's called DEFCON 3.
DEFCON 3, oh, how could I forget? Such original names.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't mention the intro. It's just your stupid... generic.
A really crappy song. I'm sorry, most Japanese songs are really bad. They're just random words thrown together. No coherent story. And then just, an overlay of them flying jets.
Yeah, I mean, it changes up every episode, the things they show, but it's really not worth mentioning. But, this is a review, so here we go. Here we are. So, this one... of course, they damage more planes in the beginning, but there's, I guess, a guy. Oh no, the misogynist and the head captain who we didn't mention because he's only in it for a little bit. His deal is that he got slapped by the good girl at one point, so it's just
the plot for the episode comes out to be them putting up another test. And the way they want to make them fail is by having their ace pilot, what's her name?
I call her Bad Girl.
Mitsuki? Bad Girl? Something like that.
Yeah, it's Arisa Mitaka.
Oh, there we go. So they want to give her a promotion out of the squadron. Since she's their ace pilot, they'll fail the test.
Yeah. And so, of course, she's like, yeah, because, no one really wants to be in this because they want to be fighter pilots. This is just a crap task. I don't know why they fight so hard to keep this thing alive.
Beats me. I have their camaraderie that they have with each other, even though they hate each other. I don't understand why they want the squadron to stay alive.
That just dawned on me. I have no idea what the point of it, keeping this thing alive is. The only people that really want to keep it going is the gambler girl and the captain guy.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
that might just be because they want to stay together.
We'll get to that one, but they're not together. They're not together at all.
Well, not together in the sense of relationship, but together in the sense they want to be next to each other.
I guess, yeah, I suppose. So anyway, the bad girl disappears for a little while into the city.
She has to think about her decision whether or not she wants to become a fighter pilot.
Yeah, and just to prove she's the bad girl, she's wearing a leather jacket, she's riding a motorcycle, and then they go to an arcade, which is interesting, and then some
perverted old man staring at her breasts. Good breasts.
He comes up to her. I forget why he comes up to her.
He gives her advice on the fighter pilot video game she's playing in the arcade.
Oh, okay. And then she shows him up, and then he's trying to win a doll for his niece or granddaughter, and then he can't do it, but of course the bad girl can.
Super easy, by the way.
Yeah, apparently. I don't know if you ever played a crane game before, but it's not that easy.
Well, on her way out, there's some sort of accident, and an electrical pole falls, and is about to fall on his granddaughter. So she's a total badass. Rips on her motorcycle, picks up the little girl, saves her, but still crashes. But the girl's fine even without a helmet.
Yeah.
But the girl with the helmet falls and has a little bit of blood.
Yeah.
But the little girl's fine with no helmet.
Yeah.
This doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. I mean, it's an anime. That's just par for the course for that, though. But
best part of the episode, by the way, she eventually gets home. There's a little bit of blood on her head. Everyone's asleep. For some reason, the invasion of privacy doesn't matter in the show, and she just walks into the main character's room and then sexually assaults him in his sleep, starts kissing him. What the hell?
Yeah, well, you say that's the worst part. That's not even the worst part.
No, that's the worst part of this episode.
No, that's not even the worst part of this episode to me.
What's the worst part of this episode?
We'll get to that. That's at the end. That's at the end. Anyway, so yeah, she does that, which is, that's not the first we're going to have the last of the sexual assault in this show.
Oh, of course not.
But, so she accepts, and she goes and is a fighter pilot, leaves them going, and then they have the big test comes, and they're by herself, and they have to use the annoying girl, which is an ongoing thing, too. The annoying girl with the bat is apparently a pilot.
Yeah, but you only see her fly once, maybe?
Not even that. They know she is so terrible that they don't put her in. Why is she even there?
That's actually a good bit of humor. So she's constantly saying, "I'm a pilot too, and no one even acknowledges it. They just don't want her to fly.
And they're even in later episodes, you're like, I guess I can do it because when the Americans in that one episode lose their one. Gets hurt, so they need the pilot.
Yeah, later on.
And she tries, and they're like, no. And that was also a funny part of that. I gotta give it credit where credit is due. When they're in the second episode, when they're going to the horse races, the captain, the girl starts talking, and the captain just goes, "Shut up." Shut up.
That was decent.
That
was so neat.
it was a brief moment of hilarity in a show that has not any at all.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so okay. I'm sorry.
Back to episode 3. Where were we at? She sexually assaults our main character. Oh, okay. So the next day, she accepts. She goes and joins the fighter squadron.
Right. And of course, so now the big test is coming, and they gotta use the annoying girl as the other pilot, but all of a sudden, they're doing really good out of nowhere.
They won't show you the face of the one pilot.
Yeah, no. And of course, the bad girl comes in, and she saves the day.
How so? I thought she joined the fighter squadron.
Yeah, I know, and they even say that. Now they're going to get arrested because she's flying a plane unauthorized, and they're going about...
As if they care about rules.
Yeah, I know. So they're going to go get the military police, and then, of course, the pervy short guy from the earlier in the episode is...
Just the one-liners are killing me. Good breasts.
Yeah.
There's a couple of them throughout the show, and they are terrible.
Well, he's, of course, one of the main generals in the thing, and he comes since the bad girl saved his granddaughter.
Riding on a white horse?
Yeah, granddaughter. He's authorized it, and he's taken over the 101st Squad, and they're going to be a squad from now on. Doesn't he even make them a fighter pilot squad?
I think, yeah, later on they become a fighter
I think
squadron.
He makes them a fighter pilot.
Right then and there. It is right then.
Right there. And then, this is my...
They never fight anything anyway, by the way.
Oh, yeah, no. There's no fighting in this.
Thank God.
No, there is fighting in it. In the dream sequences.
Oh, yeah, in the dream sequences. That doesn't count.
But again, it's where they're getting killed every episode. But this is the worst part of the episode for me. So, they put the mechanic guy on a spot and say, which one do you want?
Oh, Jesus.
Which girl do you want?
Who do you pick while they're flying airplanes?
Yeah, who's going to be
multi-million-dollar airplanes?
Who's going to be your girlfriend? And he says, well, I pick both. One's going to be my girlfriend, and one's going to be my mistress.
I mean, shoot for the stars, buddy.
Yeah, but that's not the worst part. That's fine. They're like, they don't say no. They're like, oh, so we're going to share? I don't know about this. And they do it. Right. What?
Well, it's a polygamous relationship. Good on him. Good on him.
No.
If it makes you happy, all right, you do it. I fully support his decision.
I don't mind him going for it. It's the girl's reaction that pisses me off.
That was pretty terrible. That's not how people actually react, especially people that hate each other.
Yeah, no, really. They're going to share this one guy that they like? I mean, this is... No. Anyway, on to the worst episode, episode 4, which is called... Not DEFCON 4, believe it or not.
Oh, thank God.
It is actually called... Yuki Guni Shoi Jota. I have no idea what that means.
Yeah, I wonder what that translates to.
No idea.
We're not going to look it up.
We're not going to look it up because based on this episode, it's probably not good. In fact, this might be the worst anime episode I've ever seen in any anime ever. I mean, that's my own personal gripes with it, so I don't know how you feel about it.
I mean, there's boobies in it, so I don't think it's the worst episode made ever, but maybe one of the most offensive.
Okay, I'll go with that. It's definitely the most offensive. Definitely. Well, and this is also where the series takes a weird turn, too.
Yeah, definitely an odd turn.
Yes, and like out of nowhere. So they start off with another dream sequence, and of course they're on the beach and they're all in bikinis and stuff like that. But then of course they juxtaposition to them in a snowstorm for some reason.
We have no idea why they're doing this.
And apparently they're on vacation to go into a hotel in the middle of a snowstorm, and then they start telling about a ghost story.
Yeah, some World War I, World War II veterans.
So there's a ghost story going on
that landed somewhere and they can't get out of the mountains, so they're just haunted by the vets.
So they make it to the hotel where they're introduced to this little old lady. I have no idea what her name is, and it's probably best that I don't know her name, honestly. And of course, this used to be a hotel that used to house fighter pilots and stuff like that.
Of course.
And of course, there's a broken down fighter pilot plane in the hotel. And then comes, I guess, what Shawn would call the best part of the episode is before we get to that, I just gotta mention this is where they introduce the karaoke.
Oh yeah,
the karaoke thing where the game.
They're all sitting down eating and everything, and Sakura brings out the karaoke machine.
Yeah, Sakura is the Game Boy girl, by the way. And they all run away, and this is a bad joke that she can't sing, which we do hear her sing at the last episode.
Yes.
And I actually don't know why they thought it's bad, because it wasn't terrible.
Yeah, it could have been worse.
Yeah. So, anyway, back to the best part of it. So,
as they're running away from the karaoke of her singing, that leads to all of them going into the hot tub. Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, not hot tub, hot springs, sorry.
And before it was a little cheeky with the nudity and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was like they showed, but there wasn't actual nudity. It was just like
there was
a lot of cleavage and stuff.
They showed the bad girl's butt in the first episode.
Oh, that's not nudity though. Come on.
Oh, it's she doesn't have clothes on. It's nudity, but they do show it. But no, they go full blown nudity here.
Yeah, they showed nipple, everything, we didn't expect that.
No, the detail is really strange too.
Yeah, it goes back and forth. So the first time in the episode when they show a little bit of nudity, they're running through the hot tubs. It's really bad. Like, it's terrible. It's poorly drawn. And then later on in the episode when they show more, it's like high quality.
Yeah, I mean,
they put all their effort into it.
It's like the first time when they're running away from the hot spring because the guys showed up,
the ghost showed up and the girls are running away from the ghost.
But they're running and you see the full frontal, except there's no detail on it. But then later,
there's like dots for the nipples.
No, I didn't even see dots.
There was.
Was there?
I paused it.
Of course you did. It's a good thing I told you to put your kids to bed on that.
Oh, thank God you did.
but and then later on in the episode, they show like an actual breast and like fully detailed and stuff, which is weird. So anyway, the mechanic is working on the plane the whole time because, of course, you guys know interest.
Well, which is really odd. So when he first sees the plane, he looks it over and he says, "Wow, whoever owned this took really good care of it. It's in great shape." and then the rest of the episode is him fixing it.
Yeah.
If it's in great shape, what are you fixing?
That's true, too. And then the whole rest of the episode, the other plot is just them worried about the ghost, and really nothing happens
until
the end, where the twist comes in.
It's nighttime, they're sleeping.
Uh-huh. Go ahead, no, explain it.
And the girls are all sleeping in a room together, and Hanada, the good girl, is going, "Oh no, Izuki.
Yeah, the mechanic.
No, stop." The mechanic, the main character. "Stop, no, not now, not here." And then the blanket gets ripped off, and it's the old lady, who happens to be the ghost, who's actually an old man, posing as an old lady, who just raped this poor girl. Now, rape happens. We know it. It happens in life. I'm not upset that they put it in the show. I'm upset at the character's reaction to being sexually assaulted, raped.
Honestly, it was a little underwhelming, the way their reaction, but they do chase him out.
They do chase him out. They do, oh, he sexually assaulted her.
Yeah.
But that's it. Like, no one's really hurt by it. They're just
but that's not
upset
even the worst,
to be upset.
That's not even the worst part of it. Because once they get at the very end of the episode, the mechanic comes in, and they tell him about that he's who he is and he's sexual assault, but he built the plane, so, that's okay. He must have a pure heart because he loves planes. He just excused rape on his own girlfriend, friend, and that's where I was done with the show, honestly. I raged quit watching right there because it was just ridiculous.
It's offensive. It's super offensive. And it's supposed to be taken as a joke. It's lighthearted. But you just can't. Right, of course you can make jokes on anything. Whether you find it funny is subjective.
Right.
One, it's not funny.
No, not at all.
Two, it's not believable in any sense of the word.
And you can't even really excuse it with, even if 1994 and in Japan, which is a lot more forgiving with this stuff, but it just was just blatant and just, I don't even know why it was there, honestly.
I don't know.
Because they had nothing to do. Earlier in the episode, they're rummaging through their stuff and they find all their panties are missing. And they're like, then they blame the mechanic for it, and he was like, "I'm fixing the plane. What the hell are you talking about?" So this was just this was the worst episode I've ever seen of anything ever, honestly. And I don't even I don't even know how we can, for future reviews, how we could even top this one.
Well, I mean, this is a baseline for the worst anime ever. And this is it. If you ever hear us say that another anime is worse than 81 T.T.S. Airbats, beware.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because if there's, this one is saved by the fact that it is really, really short.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
We were actually, after the first 2 episodes, we straight up said, it's only 7 episodes, let's just watch all of it to get it done.
Because normally, if we think a show is bad enough, we give it like 2 to 4 episodes, and then we'll go over those episodes, but we're like, don't watch this one, it's not worth your time. But this one was so short.
So short.
It was like, we might as well just go through it. And it was probably the worst mistake we've
ever made in our entire adult lives.
Yeah, I might even say my entire life. Because this was bad.
Alright, well, so let's forget about episode 4 and jump on episode 5.
Yeah, okay, episode 5. This is where the name titles get really strange, because now it's DEFCON 4. What?
The variety is astounding.
Well, not even that, because it was DEFCON 3, then episode 4, now episode 5 is DEFCON 4. So, they skipped the number for some reason. It was like that one episode was made specifically just to be offensive and full of nudity or something like that, because now we go into episode 5, which we go back to the air base, and this is the one with
I think the Americans show up in this one.
Is it? Yeah, this is the American ones. So
there wasn't a whole lot going on in episode 5 in my opinion.
No.
Just bad.
Yeah.
No, nothing I think that stood out too much.
No.
Just bad.
Well, there was
bad writing, bad everything.
Yeah, there was a point where they there was a CIA guy there in the office, and so essentially what happens is the Japanese Special Defense Force are like the American. I don't know what they're called in this.
It's pretty much the same thing.
Okay, so the Blue Thunderbirds or whatever we have the equivalent over here in America is to pretty much do a demonstration, and of course the Americans are cocky and the Japanese are trying to show them up, and then they go up in the air, and then the American lead girl, because of course the lead is a girl, and you're surrounded by guys.
You know how many female pilots there are in real life?
No.
Damn near none.
Is there really? None? Huh.
I mean, there's a few. Of course there is.
All right.
But that's not very many.
No.
The physical toll it takes on the body, it's not that they can't do it. Of course they can. But there's just less of the population wants to do it.
Oh. I mean, I guess guys are more, like, yeah, let's go do that.
Oh, yeah, of course. Gun ho.
So I guess that makes sense. But anyway, the American leader goes down and she gets hurt. So, of course, now the demonstration's in jeopardy or whatever. So they gotta, they reconcile, essentially, because now they're going to cancel it. The Americans are going to leave because they're causing all this trouble, and this was worth the Americans' time, which is offensive to us Americans. That's where we are, but whatever. That's culture in any culture. But so they reconcile, and of course now, but now they need a new pilot. They can't do it. So are they going to use the annoying Batgirl? No, who do they use?
It's a good question. I don't want to remember.
Oh, you don't remember?
I don't want to remember. It's so bad. I'm trying to delete everything from this show that I've seen.
This is where they do a redemption arc for the misogynist guy.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. The captain's boss. I can't remember. They're really bad at doing ranks.
Yeah, it's terrible.
So I don't even know what's above Captain Major.
Yeah.
Maybe, something like that. Maybe that's what he is.
Yeah, I think I wrote it
But
down.
they're just so bad at using either names or rank titles.
Yeah. Well,
anyway.
He's the mid-boss, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
He's not the leader of the group, but he's not the head of the whole facility.
Base.
Yeah. So he's like the mid-boss guy, but he's like the antagonist trying to get them fired and disbanded for the whole series. And now, all of a sudden, he's a pilot. I didn't know he was a pilot.
Right? Had no idea.
So,
apparently everyone knows how to fly planes.
And they would rather him do it than the annoying girl, who is apparently can't fly to save anybody's life, which I still don't understand why she's a pilot. But, okay. So, they go up, and it turns out without a hitch.
Yeah, pretty much.
And they come down. So, but they're filming when they come down, and they're like, "Oh no, what are we gonna do?" They're trying to get a view of the American girl
coming out of the plane.
And of course, the misogynist is dressed in drag because
somehow they dressed him in drag in that short period of time.
And so he gets out, waves, and they switch places, and then that's that end of the episode. That's all that really happened. Nothing.
Yeah, it was a pretty dull episode. Yeah. Nothing crazy happened. In a good way, I guess that's a great thing.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, it's just odd how the love triangle stuff kind of just faded. I mean, there's no relationship stuff from those three ever again. Yeah,
for the most part. I mean, in the next episode, a little bit, but it's just a couple comments. It's not really. It's not really plot.
All right, speaking of the next episode, let's go to the next episode, DEFCON 5.
The ramen episode.
The ramen episode. I guess that's a good. I was going to say
that would have been a better episode name.
I was thinking the great gambling massacre, but okay.
Oh yeah, that works.
So, all right, episode 6, the annoying girls episode. Apparently, aren't we lucky, Nikki? Well, she's in the city, and we get a panty shot of her riding her scooter.
Oh, thank God, because she doesn't look like she's 12.
Yeah, no, not at all. So she's driving, and she comes across a sign that says. Ramen eating contest.
And if you win, I think you get a year's worth of ramen, something like that.
Of course. And she goes back, and then they start discussing ramen up in the airplanes again. So they're having conjugal convocation up there. Let's go eat ramen. The girls are up first. Like, no, we're not gonna do that. I mean, maybe not the girls, but someone. It's generally frowned upon. But then the captain's like, "No, we are doing this," because he's apparently a ramen eating champion or something. Or
he's done some food competitions.
Yeah, he's done some food competitions because of course he has. And so that starts off everything, which leads to some strange places.
Yeah. So the night before the ramen eating competition, Sakura takes out the captain and forces him to listen to her karaoke all night long. So he's not in prime condition for the ramen eating competition.
Right. So the favorites he was the favorite to win, which is, I say that because it's important in this episode. Yes. so yeah, and I don't think anybody else was. I mean, the two girls are trying to win so they can give their boyfriend the free food ramen, right? And he's has some problems. Because the captain starts training him throughout the episode for the eating contest, but he can't. He's throwing up the whole time. So
he just can't hold down that kind of food.
He can't hold it down, so he's the least likely to win. So and then right before it's the big reveal that everybody in the military,
everyone's watching. Everyone's betting on it.
Yeah, it's Sakura the Hamburglar has set up this whole gambling ring.
And it crosses nations even. The Americans are watching. Russians are watching it.
There's a part where there's a Russian spy ship in there, and they're trying to shoot it down and stuff, and it's a big serious moment, and he was like... And then the captain gets eliminated in the ramen thing, and it's like, don't worry, I lost money on that too.
Rupees.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, I'm surprised they actually threw that in there.
Yeah.
That's the currency.
So, I mean, this was a big betting thing. It was like this big ordeal. So, in the ramen thing, this is where the bat comes in. Right.
No, once again, the bat is back into play. For, what's her name? Yuki? Yuki is the pink girl's name?
She's the annoying girl.
Yeah, she's the annoying girl. So the bat's picking up her green onions out of her ramen bowl and spitting it into...
The misogynist is...
It's just his name, the misogynist.
I told you, I wasn't learning their names. This was not worth my time.
Keep spitting her onions into his bowl. He hates it, obviously.
Yeah. So the mechanic goes out in the ramen contest first because he's just constantly throwing up.
Yeah, he was done.
And then the captain actually goes out second because...
The misogynist is, every time he looks away, the misogynist is throwing in a bunch of hot sauce into his ramen or putting a bunch of extra meat and stuff in his ramen, so he can't keep up.
I forget why he's in this contest, because he was against it.
He mentioned earlier in the episode that he did 1 or 2 eating competitions in his
youth. But he was...
So yeah, I think he just wanted to. I don't think there was a reason.
No, you know what it was? The little general was like, I think this is a good idea, and he's such a kiss ass throughout the whole thing. He was like, oh yeah, I guess that's good. I can lead and show that I'm a great leader. Mm-hmm. Oh, and the general says, if whoever wins this could show that there's a good promotion involved.
There you go. That's why.
And there's in a different base or something like that. So that's why he was.
And he wants to get out of that squadron. That's why he's trying to close it down the whole time. He knows it's a joke, and he's the head of it, and he doesn't want to do it anymore.
He actually says when he thinks they're going to lose in the first episode, that we can actually get men's jobs in the special defense force. So yeah. So then of course the two girls, the good and bad girl, are fighting over, and they both go out at the same time because I think the bad girl actually outlasted the good girl by a little bit.
But she didn't eat anymore; just lasted a longer time. They ate the same amount of food.
Oh, okay.
So it didn't make any sense. And then Yuki won. The pink girl, the annoying girl won.
Well, it was Yuki and the misogynist left.
Yes.
And I forget how the misogynist lost. Oh, because she ate...
She finished before him.
Yeah, you had to get to 5 giant bowls done.
The first 5 bowls done wins, and while he's just like, yes, I'm going to win, I've got it, she's continuing to eat. Right. So she wins.
Right. So, and honestly, that was that.
That was probably the best episode, in my opinion. I know you like the last episode, but I won't get into the talk on the last episode, but I think the last episode doesn't have any reason to be in the actual series.
You're right. And that's why I like it. It feels like an episode from a different anime.
Which, I mean, it stands on its own merits, but as far as the previous 5 episodes, the 6th episode works.
This was the best.
It's not that offensive.
This was the best one out of those. But I will say, if the last episode was its own series, I would watch that series.
That would be better.
Yeah, I would definitely watch that series.
It just didn't make a whole lot of sense when you have the first 6 episodes, everything that's happened in all of them. Know what? And then the 7th episode, which we're going to talk in just a moment, it doesn't make any sense. It just immediately goes into a flashback.
Right, well, let's get to it. Episode 7. Want to guess the name of the title?
I don't know, DEFCON 12?
No, it's DEFCON 6.
Oh. Wow. Who would have thought?
So yeah, it starts off with there's a 100K race that the captain's training them, and if they lose, they have to do a naked dance, and the girls are like, "You're a pervert," to the captain and stuff like that. But the gambling girl, Sakura, which is the only name I actually remember throughout the whole thing, but she's inside Dustin, she's not bothered with it, and they show her wearing a ring, and then we go back to a flashback to Sakura's and the captain's days when they were fighter pilots and stuff like this, and we're introduced to
so the entire episode is a flashback.
Yes. Which is odd.
No, wait. The last episode in the 7-episode series is a flashback.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I wonder if it got canceled or something.
Well, so apparently it's an OVA.
Uh-huh.
But the manga lasted longer. So it's an OVA of the manga. They never had an anime for the manga. So the manga, they wrote the entire manga, whatever happened in it. We haven't read it, so we don't know. And then the anime is just, not happening. The anime is just like an add-on to the manga. But it doesn't make any sense. The OVA should still be a beginning and end type of story, but it just doesn't happen.
Maybe they were intending to make more and realized it wasn't good, so they just stopped. Because this feels like it should be in the middle of the series.
Yeah, in the middle or even in the beginning to preface what's going to happen.
Right.
And it isn't. It's at the end for some reason. And you're just left, okay, that's the end. No conclusion.
I think this is the best episode. So...
Mm-hmm.
So they just essentially go back and
what I liked about this episode is that they go back in time to when the captain and Sakura are not cadets, but they're not. I don't think he was a captain yet. Was he?
No.
I think he was like lieutenant, and she was. She had just joined.
Yeah, she was what the good girl and bad girl were. Yeah, she was just a regular.
But what was interesting is that the good girl, bad girl, and Yuki, the pink-haired girl,
were
all in the show.
I know why. Why do you know that girl's name?
You said it at the beginning of the podcast. I remembered it from then because I didn't know her name before this.
I was about to say you can't remember anyone else's name, but you.
Well, I know Hanada. I know Yuki. I know Sakura. I think the main character is Izuki.
It's a rookie, I think.
It's a rookie, yeah, you're right. Anyway, but what's great about this episode is that during the entire flashback, the three main characters are there.
Are they?
The three girls, that's them.
Is it them? I just thought they were different cadets with the same voice actors.
No, it's definitely them. They just look different. They're younger, and the pink-haired girl hadn't dyed her hair yet, apparently, so it was blind and buns.
Yeah, so I guess I thought they were just different characters completely, just who weren't, because they were acting out of character.
A little bit, yeah, which seemed a little bit odd. I assume something happened in the original manga that made them not like each other so much. Or at least the two, because the third one, who gives a fuck, the pink-haired girl.
Yeah. So, I mean, this whole thing is about the captain and his best friend. I didn't catch his name. I think I wrote it down, but...
I don't know. He's perfect. He's the Ken doll of the group.
So, and of course, all the girls are in love with him. And not really Sakura, though. She's kind of into the captain. And it isn't until the three of them go out at night and they do karaoke where the captain's like, I can't do this, and leaves, and the other guy kind of likes it. Mm-hmm. And so they start falling for each other, and it turns into another love triangle, but they actually did this one pretty well.
Yeah, this one was done pretty well. So, at the end, towards the end, what's his name? The captain's friend.
Yeah.
Wants to propose.
Right, he's going to propose, but what's her name? Sakura has some kind of test.
Yeah.
So, and so he's going to go to the test and support her and then propose to her there. But the three girls, the three main characters, I guess, pull him away. Mm. So he can't do it because they're in love with him.
Yeah, they don't want him to marry her.
Yeah, so the captain's there at her thing and he's in love with her too. He's going to go up and propose. So he runs up to her and then Sakura says the best friend's name instead of his. And he's just embarrassed. And he's holding the ring right there, and he's so embarrassed. And he says, "Oh, my best friend told me to give this to ring. He couldn't make it, so he pretty much gave up his own
engagement ring,
his engagement ring for his best friend and her to get it. It was actually a good moment, and so I mean, it was a redeeming moment for me for just the writing team and stuff.
Yeah, a bit. Well, little bit later on for me. So, yeah, she says yes, and apparently they're married. You don't really know if they get married or not, but they flash forward back to present time. She's sitting, she was dusting, she found the box, she has the ring on her finger, she's wearing it constantly. Mm-hmm. That leads me to believe that she said yes and they got married.
Right. And she finds the box that the captain announced, and then she sees that it was him that was
you open the box and it has his name on it, please marry me. Because with his name on it.
Because he pulled the ring out of the box.
Yes, she didn't see the inside of the box.
Yeah, and just handed her the box. And
so that leads me to believe that she is married, but she works for the captain, and now she's like, "Oh, you silly man."
Yeah.
And it's like, no, he loves you.
Yeah,
he's not a silly man. And you're wearing his engagement ring, but you're married to his best friend, supposedly. Right. They don't actually say, but why else would you be wearing an engagement ring?
I'm pretty sure they're still married. Because, I mean, those two were kind of flirty throughout the whole thing, but nothing really came of it. So it kind of makes sense that that's where it was.
And then that's it.
Yeah, and then it just ends. And
that's the end.
That's 801 T.T.S. Airbats.
And I'm so happy it's over.
Yeah. I mean, this is not one you want to watch. This is probably the worst anime you'll ever have to experience.
Stay far away. For the love of God, take my word for it.
I'm just glad I got the bitch and rant about it now.
For an hour. About an hour. That's fantastic.
That's why I wanted to do it this way, because of that. But since that's that, that's the end of the review. We're going to spin the wheel for the letter A and see what comes up.
Yeah. Let's see what's going on for the next episode. Spin. A Cell World. I've heard of it. I don't know exactly what it is, but I know it was popular in its day. It's not that old, I don't think. But that is what we will be reviewing next episode.
I never heard of it, so. Alright, guys. We'll talk to you next time, and see you then.
TJ and Shawn signing off.
What?